Said me IRL. She says, "What's IRL?"
No, I know what IRL is. I don't know what me.
Me IRL. This is me IRL.
If you go over here, you can get the food.
That's okay. Welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades. So Laura just left. That's my mom. She's really annoying. Really, all she ever tries to do is cut people down, and just like anytime it sounds like maybe there could be an argument on the horizon, because she'll start it. She assumes that an argument is about to start, and she gets very defensive. So you're just like not allowed to have your own reality. She has to like substitute her own. It's really annoying. I just speak the same way that I speak to everybody at her, but she's like functionally a boomer, so like it's pointless to even try. Like why do I talk to my narcissistic mother? I don't know. Maybe just to keep the peace and like see what's going on in her brain sometimes when it's safe and I can just do exactly what I did. Walk away when I just can't fucking take her anymore. Like bye, goodbye, go home. Go be wretched to someone else. So this is rubus. That is also known as raspberry. Then we also got the Oriental Bittersweet that I just stripped some leaves off of. I think, and I wouldn't quote me on this, I think it's Heath Aster. It's definitely in the Asteraceae family. It's definitely an aster. But I think it's called Heath Aster, but I could be wrong about that. There's like thousands of asters. I don't know them all. This one is white snakeroot, for sure. What a great plant. Great plant indeed. And then this is one's Creeping Charlie. Next to it is the wood sorrel. That's some goldenrod. That's some bull thistle. Wow, let's get closer to the bull thistle. That's intense. Yeah, I was just trying to talk to Laura about like literally anything, and like she literally can't talk about anything. She just turns it into an argument. Like she doesn't. It's not like it's like all right. So like religious freaks that are like obsessed with talking about their religion will always try to like steer the conversation. It's called like steer it back to like their religion. Like, dude, I just don't really want to hear about how Christ's light saved you. Like, I get it that it's important to you, but like at some point, like, can you just talk to me about like anything else and how it doesn't relate to that? And if that's all you know how to relate to, like, you become an annoyance to me. And I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And I don't want to hear you, and I don't want to be near you. You know, that's how it is with her, but she's even more annoying than a religious freak because she's not even trying to like steer it to God. She's trying to steer it towards an argument so that she can then get defensive because it's all she knows how to do. And then just start gaslighting. Just like, she's just like trying to antagonize everyone because she feels insecure and attacked. So she's got to play the victim, but she can't play the victim if there's no crime. So she's got to like implicate you in a crime that didn't really exist by being like, so I'll be like, oh yeah, like you sent me to like a religious school. Like, I don't know really why you thought I wouldn't turn out religious. Like, you're acting surprised that I turned out like deeply fucking dark religious. You sent me to like, and she's like, well, other people had a terrible life. Like, in Vietnam, kids. I'm like, okay. What the fuck does that have? She said, well, maybe your life wasn't the worst thing ever. And I'm like, okay, so basically you're putting words in my mouth that I never said. Right? It's just, it's craziness. It's craziness. And I get sick of, now that I know what the game is with narcissists, it's, you know, I mean, it's still intolerable to be around them. But at least you know to hold your breath and not try to breathe while you're with them, if that makes sense. Like, assume that they are shit. Do not try to breathe in shit. That is my advice about narcissists. Do not try to breathe in shit. Hold your breath if you have to be around them, and then bail, dude. Just bail. It's so easy. You just walk away. This is Virginia Creeper. Next to it is, because it's got that little red berry, or orange berry. That is poisonous, I think? I don't actually know. But it's Lily of the Valley, I think. Japanese barberry. Some moss. Alright, I'm gonna smoke a bowl, try to relax, get my wits about me, and just like realize that the day is mine and not hers. She tries so hard. She's like, okay, so she's like, oh, I have to get in shape for Portugal because we're going to Portugal for my vacation. I'm like, okay, I'll bring you up the steepest hill. So she did it, actually. She not only did she do it, she did it without complaining, which was fucking crazy to me. Like, when she is motivated, like, she gets motivated. I gotta say, I was impressed. Like, she actually was, like, doing work. I was like, wow. So we got to, like, literally the top. And she's like, well, I want to keep going up. And I'm like, well, we should have gone to a mountain. So I started bringing her back down because there is no more up. And so she starts complaining that she's not going up. And she's like, does this way go up? I'm like, okay, we were at the top. We literally have to go down, or we have to turn around and go back the way that we just came from the top. You can't go to the top of a hill twice. And she's just like, she just thinks that complaining about reality rather than thinking about reality is going to somehow change things. And I'm like, oh my God, you're emotionally like a toddler. Like, shut up. Like, just like, if you want to, like, okay, I like, we could walk and jog. We could, I could give you some extra weight. You know, like, there's ways that we can make your caloric burn higher by percentile value per time measurements. I don't know, right? Like, I'm not a physical fucking trainer. And like, she's treating me like I should be like whipping her into shape. Like, first of all, that's not even why I brought you here. That's incidental that you're doing this as a project. That's like me like complaining like, well, you haven't found me enough flowers. I wanted the flowers. Like, what? The entitlement, man. Like, narcissists are very entitled people. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining. This is Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show from the void. Warning. The following program is recorded live and is not intended for children. This program may at any time contain dark and graphic content that may be distressing for some viewers and against the terms of service for some platforms. The themes and opinions expressed in this program should be considered psychotic and therefore entirely fictional and should not be used for political or academic purposes. Facts are not checked and no sources or citations will be provided. Should you choose to redistribute this broadcast, please do so at your own risk and only in good faith. Thank you again for joining us. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show from the void. By the Gregorian calendar, it is currently the second day in the 9th month, the month of September, in the year of the Lord, 2023. By the Revolutionaries calendar, I believe, and I'd have to double check actually, but I believe that it is either the 15th or the 16th day in the month of fruit, and also the meta month of dance and psychedelics. Soon will be the month of pumpkin. I must look like a complete mad person walking around talking to the voices in my head, cracking up laughing, right? Like, I'm sitting here just like really having a great time, just being myself, just giggling away. Thankfully there's no one around to see me unmasked. I'm just like, it's just really natural body language. I can't help it. I'm exuberant. I smile. I'm like, yo, let's go. Everyone in the whole tribe in the universe needs to know it. There's a lady walking like right towards me. What the hell? Super weird. Whoa. Whoa. Yo, I'm not a great camera person, but to my credit, I know what should be filmed. And I know what things that people want to focus on. Like, just like, ready? I know what you want to look at. Ready? Tell me if I was right. Oh, it flew away. That actually wasn't it, because that flew in after, so it's rigged. Alright, ready? Johnny? told all the like smart kids that they could become like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Maybe it was doctor and lawyer. I don't know. But it was just weird. Like they were just like inventing these like made up roles for us that like really don't have a foundation in reality. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lawyer and a doctor is a very particular thing, but when you're talking about it in abstract to a child, like, first of all, you have no idea whether this child is even dyslexic, apparently. Like, you're just assuming that this child is doing what the rest of the children are doing and not just, like, foiling your plots to, like, demoralize him and, you know, subtract him from the nature around him, and, like, it's trying to subvert your expectations by subverting your entire system. Right? And eventually it starts to hate the system, and sometimes it even grows against the system, and sometimes that can hit the point of a Columbine shooter. I never hit the point, I never got to that point. I dropped out of school before I got that angry at it for keeping me. And because I wasn't forced at gunpoint to show up, nothing ever came of it. And so I just became disabled. And it's been like that ever since. And, like, no one ever stopped to look like, oh, shit, like, what's under the hood? Like, why is it doing all this, like, pathologically deviant, horrible fucking degenerate behavior? Like, why is it getting into trouble? Like, why is it doing all these, like, criminal fucking escapades and, like, having unprotected sex and, like, doing fucking drugs in bathrooms with people they don't know and just, like, showing up to sleep at whoever's house? Like, and I think that that's just how everyone lives every bit of their lives until they stabilize. You have to find freedom if freedom isn't guided for you and with you and snowplowed out of the way properly, right? Like, that's what parenting is supposed to be, to channel an energy as much as you can for your child so that when they go out, they know who they are and how to defend themselves. Not so that they have this, like, weird moral cowardice that's just been, like, indoctrinated into them and allowed to have been installed like fucking firmware that doesn't belong, or an operating system that is incompatible with the hardware. You know, it's deplorable what we do to these children and what we take away from them and listen, this is not to make argument that we should introduce this into the children. It is to say that when we take it away, it becomes problematic. The sexuality and especially the non-sexual but still gender-exclusive, divergent pool of things that people express, whether they're like psychosexual or not. Like, the kid isn't like, is it sexual behavior? Like, is it sexual? Did he have his dick in his hand? Did he touch someone inappropriately? Was he touching himself? Was he verbalizing that he was, like, sexually aroused? Was there another sign that we want to, like, really analyze? Like, what actually were we looking at? Was this, like, a pubescent disruption in this child that, like, bit an adult, right? Or was this, like, criminal, malicious intent where they were, like, making a psychotic stand against whatever reality monster they've created for themselves? Like, in their mind, it's like, the enemy must be bitten on the arm. Like, they're just a rabid animal. Or was it non-philosophical, and it was just like they were having such a sensory overload, and that they've only ever solved problems with raw violence, that, like, their only problem-solving skill was violence, and so it came to violence. You gotta sort that out for every single kid that has to inevitably get pushed through some system. Whether it's the principal's office, or it's the superintendent's meeting after school, or well, you know, we didn't show up to handcuff you, son. This is just, we wanted to talk to you. See what's going on, you know? You need help, buddy? To the level of, like, judicial process, you know? Like, swear to raise your hand, yada, 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 like, the bailiff will now take you into custody. Right up until the point where they put the fucking cuffs on your wrist. The system is still trying to make you do the same exact thing. Whether you comply with it or not is up to your children, I guess, ultimately. But it's up to you to make sure that they don't comply. We're teaching non-compliance to kids the wrong way. We should be teaching non-compliance, and I think that history is starting to favor non-compliance. I don't think that'll lead us anywhere good. I certainly don't think that that's argument that we should be, like, teaching these, like, I'll call them what they are, hoodlums. Racist. You can't say hoodlums. But you know who I'm talking about. And you know how they're acting, and you know why they're acting that way. And it's not because of their race. It's because of the poverty. It's because of the crime. It's because of generational trauma. It's because of economic warfare, class division, and yeah, at the end of the day, genetics. And people don't like that part because, you know, what do you mean by that? Well, a lot of them are predisposed to fetal alcohol syndrome or lead poisoning that was in vitro, so I don't know if we can blame that necessarily on, like, the genetics or so much on poisoning. But, you know, it's like Agent Orange, like, that's genetic damage. Like a person with Down syndrome, like, that's genetic damage. Well, I guess it depends on how you view that. I don't want to be the one to extol that, like, oh, they're damaged people. Because, like, hey, that you may view them as a saint, but, like, to me, it seems like something maybe goes a little bit, like, wrong. With no judgment, you know? It's just, like, we keep those things separate from the other things and categories in our heads, but we also have to have the Venn diagram overlap so that we don't actually reduce them to things. They are still people. Does that make sense? There's an entire architecture of philosophy erected in the minds of the people to basically disinhibit that type of inquiry and line of thinking, and to supplant that with its own mean-spirited hate-mongering, you know, hostile calls for fascistic removal and genocide. Like, why don't we just castrate the Mongoloids? Why do we want the dysgenics downbreeding us? Oh, wow, some dysgenic raped another dysgenic and downbreeded us even further. Great, now how long do we have to take care of that child since you're telling us we can't euthanize it by gas chamber? And actually, gas chamber is fucking barbaric. No one should even be talking about that. That is not how you euthanize people. Don't ask me how. I'm not going to tell you how, because I don't have any ideas of how. I think birth control is a good way to do it. It's funny that the people that are trying to turn the faucet off on that. Why don't we just have that shit in the water? Like, apply to get the pill that makes you stop having to drink. I don't know. Some dystopian, terrible The Giver style plot build. So I gotta have a word with some people about we need a safety team. Like, why isn't there a safety team? There used to be a safety team. People didn't talk about it, and there needs to once again be a safety team that people don't talk about. And it's interesting because you can't approach people with that idea unless you think they should also be on the safety team. Because otherwise you should be like, oh, I think there should be a safety team that no one talks about. And you say that to the enemy. Right, now they know that there's a secret team that'll be looking out for you. And once they learn who you are, they can just wait till your secret person leaves the room. The idea is that you don't know who the informants are. You don't know where the information is being spread or coming from or who to trust. Right? And those of us who do know that work with each other have signals that are like, they're not dog whistles, they're covert, you know, they're subliminal, they're clandestine, I suppose would be the word. So I gotta have a word with the manager tonight. Like, listen, I understand you don't have hiring power, firing power here, not that type of manager. But for your night and for the nights that you oversee, you need a safety team. You don't have to pay me. You should. But we have, you know, enough people here that are untrustworthy that just having one more single, even one sober person extra floating around, literally just as the undercover cops, you know, I'm not going to throw hands, but I'm watching people's drinks. And no, I can't stop every single person from getting roofied if that happens. But I can be damn certain to make note of who is there. I mean, the cameras do a damn fine job of that. You know, on places where they scan IDs to know who's where. You know, that's like a whole thing. Like, don't scan my fucking ID. It's creepy, dude. That keeps a log of everyone who's there. That's their prerogative. I just don't like it. I'm like, don't be doing that to me. We got some, I forget what it's actually called, Rubus something. Oh, the train's coming. I can hear it. That's why I came here. I'm gonna eat this. This is a partridge berry. Oh, it's a pet. I'm spitting it out because there was seeds and I didn't want to chew them up. Honestly, it tastes kind of like a really, really bland apple, I think. I was expecting it to be kind of more like, I guess, like maybe a tomato, I guess. Or like bitter. But it was more like an apple. But like a little mushier. And like not very tasty. Not tasty. Just, it didn't have a lot of taste to it. It wasn't very sugary, I guess. I don't know. It was alright.
I guess people probably think that, I'm happy a lot of the time. And, or that, like, I'm at peace or at harmony. Maybe people don't think that, and they see right what I am. But I don't think people see the depths of the misery. Probably because I just don't externalize it or cry. I just kind of internalize and cognicize, or whatever the word is. Mentalize. I think about trauma a lot. Not necessarily myself traumatizing other people. Mostly I think about other people traumatizing other people. And it fucks with me. And I fuck with it. And it fucks with me. Got home and just got super triggered, and then we're screaming at each other. But then I realized that they're actually having fun.
Redeem yourself! What are you doing? No! That's a big shot. That's a big shot. Big moment.
Bro, they're having a great time. Anyways, I'm doing a tick check. Ooh. These kids are ridiculous. I drew a turkey. My phone won't focus. There we go, and it finally focused. Do a turkey. I see what you mean. It kind of works.
It kind of goes everything because they have that.